Shipuramaishkanatera tumaistutara kamashkana. Glory in the light of the Radiant One. Glory in the light of the Radiant One. Glory in the light of the Radiant One. Shena borotala karasnape tabora karnashe shimarara. These words for you and the whole world. Let it be known, let it be seen, let it be revealed. I am Celestine Iisha Star, and I am here to tell my story of living through an attack on my life. I want it to be clear, and I want those of you who understand and know that there are forces in this world who play a hidden game. Although my late husband of many years, we separated, but I stayed with him, and he showed me the world of the hidden game. And then earlier in my birth years, I was shown again by a heavy hand the hidden world of the reverse consciousness, those who are not of the unified mind, those who have reversed, and their virtues are to control, to do harm to others, and to do whatever it takes to be at the top, and to feel successful in these ways. I want to say that the world that I live in, and all of us on Earth here this September 27, 2020, we are living in a dual-natured world. Two timelines. One, the minds, spirit, energies of the human species is actually driving off the cliff. Their leaders care less, and even themselves thinking they are in control are actually being driven by off-planet intelligence. And those of you that know what I am speaking of. And the other timeline is benevolent. It is here to make the turn, to move Earth towards a better horizon. Our purpose, and I am a part of the timeline of human evolution and Earth's transformation into galactichood. I was born here, my last walk, as a human on this planet, to bring awareness and to assist in the elevation of human consciousness and to keep the way sacred. So we will begin this journey in which I lived through in coming home from the Mount Shasta Summer Festival, Mount Shasta Summer Summit 2021. Today, September 27th, I am alive after this ordeal, coming back from this beautiful festival, and I am almost 90% recovered. So you have to understand that the Mount Shasta Summer Summit is actually a gathering of world leaders and world wisdom leaders to speak about consciousness and connections with Venusians. It was my desire to come up and work with Robert Potter, who was the producer of this beautiful promised event that he had been putting on for many years. The Promise Revealed is a place where you might find information on him. And it was a good conference. I brought with me my devoted, beautiful sister, Claudette Bowden, and together we had Tinley Wallace, who came down from Oregon, some of her people. It was a Galactic Earth Council gathering of minds. Some of my advanced Galactic Earth Council members, Christian Shrim, yeah, and I want to just name a few that came. Tamala Barnes. There are many in our grouping, and I cannot think of all their names now, but there was many of us that converged on Mount Shasta. And so exciting, you know, Brad, Marcus, there were many who would come to the booth and we would be together selling the book, The Galactic Earth Council, The Reintegration of Earthkin and Starkin, which is a compilation and a resource book for those who are looking to understand their connection to the galactics or the ultra-terrestrials, of which we have had as a group for 11 years. So we were there at the conference, and I spoke several times and was MC. I had a blast, and also sitting on the panel for the secret space program. Now there was some really right to the edge truth spoken. We had Raymond Kelly, who spoke about his connection to the Venusians, and of course Robert Parter had his connection with Fred Bell and Raymond, and even I had had a connection with Fred Bell, who was a dear late friend of ours who brought us into the understanding of pyramidology in a level that would be helpful and healing to the whole planet. So I want to acknowledge that and realize that this summit went on from roughly the 24th, people arrived, through to the 29th, 30th, and we all began to leave. Now, we'd stayed up in the mountains of Mount Shasta, clear skies. Suddenly, Lake Tahoe started burning, and it was like Armageddon in the skies. So we were breathing smoke particles, and I stayed on with Claudette until September the 1st. But even though we had taken some days off, we left on the 2nd, we went into Lake Shasta Caverns and breathed in moist air, and I think it impacted my lungs. But the truth is, we were happy, and we traveled home. And our booth and the lectures and everything was pretty successful. And I enjoyed being present with Brad Olson and Laura Eisenhower, some of the greats. Many of them, I can't bring out everybody's name, Susan Ross, and we had many who were substantially top of the world speakers, so I'm really honored to be a part of that. As we drove home, we were very happy and content. We got home and unloaded bags, and I received a call from a beautiful sister. I won't reveal her name because I'm not sure she would want me to speak to you, but she has an inner connection that is true and clear and substantial. And she said to me, I'm leaving Marin, and this is where I live, in Marin, California, and I'm leaving. They're going to do, and when she speaks of they, we could say secret space program. They are going to do an exercise and bounce a microwave beam off the back of the moon. The backside of the moon, which we all know, there's a secret base there, and we had been talking about it up in Mount Shasta. She said, I'm leaving. I'm going out of town. Now, I wasn't really prepared for this kind of thing because we were just getting back and we were just so full of life and information and sharing and just exploring all the wonders of the conference, the summit. But a few days later, and we got back, remember, on September the 2nd, and we were there for a couple of days, and then it hit. I'd say it was around the 4th. There's a little bit of lost time. what happened was kind of the end of the day. And the energy swept over me. It was like an energy. And I went out. I went completely out. I was not conscious. It took me to a place. I had no connection to my soul, my spirit. There was no state of knowing. I usually understand from my near-death experience and also taking journeys with the DMT 5-MeO and being given so much that I kind of went out there pretty far. I mean, I understand to move with knowing, and also my metaphysical training as a young girl. If you get out there, you don't know where you are, the answer is, I'm going home to God. That's all you need to know. You're going home to Source. There was none of that. I was kind of in a nowhere's land, but it was pitch black. It was invisible black. It was the dark black. There was no light. Like being in the center of a black hole. If anybody wanted to say that, because there was no light. There was almost no me. I was lucky to have just a spark of awareness, because my mental thinking was not functioning. So I was disconnected literally from my brain, and I was out there pretty far in a place on my own. I tried to send out light, and I tried to say, I know I need to be somewhere. Never happened. Couldn't happen. Wasn't happening. I didn't panic, but I sustained myself by just being in one place and understanding I am somewhere. That's all I knew, was I am somewhere. I had no idea my body couldn't breathe. It was just but I had no idea, any feeling or neurological connection to my brain synapses. I was in this state. It took me a while, and I began to pull light from somewhere, golden light. It was just these little teeny specks, so small that you couldn't even see them really. And I brought them to me and started building a cocoon. I built a shell around me. I call it the God particle, because I was in this shell of golden energy. And it was so powerful. I could feel the vibration of creation. Now you have to understand that Claudette had had the same effect, but not as heavy. She was hit by something. We were both hit by something, but she could walk. And although I did not know, she came to see me to make sure I wasn't dead. But this was perhaps days later. I couldn't lift my head, I couldn't answer, I couldn't talk, I could just So I'm in this shell, and suddenly, and I don't know time, space, there was no time and space, I popped out onto a timeline. Now I could see the darkness, I could see the rift, there was a space, and then it seemed like, when I say a timeline, literally I could see that I was looking at a timeline. Forest, sky above, water. I was safe. I knew I was safe. Who was I? I didn't have a body. I wasn't walking around. I was just observing this timeline of nature. Was it Earth? I didn't know. I wasn't associating. I wasn't connecting to my body yet. I was in a golden orb of light sustaining me, such as Babaji and Sri Aurobindo and the ones that went down that lineage. So I want to be clear, and I want to thank Ame, Lyndon Adams, Victor Gold, because they sent, Ame sent her guides to work, and she was told they weren't sure what was going to happen. I believe that they assisted me in coming out of that dark space. And at some point, perhaps, we will understand what that's all about. I do know that microwave energy breaks down all the water in the cellular space of which it is touching. So if I was hit physically, my whole water structure was damaged. That means no oxygen coming into the cells, and also the electromagnetic field is disrupted, so the capillaries aren't working and the oxygen is really not being created. Don't know how much time went by, but I do know, slowly lifting my head, I reached for my healing frequency machine. I turned it on and I said, chakras. Crown chakra, power chakra. I started working through the chakras, and as I did, an image came to mind. The image was clear, distinct. It was an amoeba. It was so large before me, in my inner mind where I was living, because I could barely get into my body at that time because there was no oxygen. So I was outside in the God cone. I had to shrink myself down into this small particle. It was like a photon. So I had created this shell around me, and I would just go into the God particle because that's all I knew what to do. This amoeba was so large, I knew, I looked and I said, that's interesting. It looks like the amoeba on the bag of, Amoeba Records. Record label, and everybody who remembers that knows what I'm talking about. It was full color, but I could see small little amylites drifting off of this amoeba. It's like that was the original mother. This was the mother of these tiny little amoebas that were dropping out of her like eggs. And it reminded me a little bit about the black box that I had worked with a group of people around the world last year, right about that time in September, where we destroyed this huge mother installation that was covered in light, and inside were 8 major black boxes with tentacles. And we took these black boxes, I went in with the High Spiritual Council, the Star Confederation, we destroyed it, and destroyed this mainframe that was surrounded with light, and we did some work in the center earth. And as we did this, we were collecting these black boxes with tentacles. We saw it in people all over the world. People were just being programmed. And as you know, your phone can send messages to you, and people don't understand because they may be new to metaphysics or such. And the thoughts that come off the phone, or if it's in the living room or the television, these are black boxes and you can be programmed, okay? So we were aware of this with the chemicals, and we worked to get rid of many, many of them and putting them in volcanoes. So this very esoteric front line, on the front lines, fully awakened, light workers, workers of divine light, work with me, 9, 9, 10, 10, 11, 11, 12, 12. Out of it I put out some 10 sacred frequency tones to help people to modulate these programming frequencies. Very good. Back to the amoeba and these things going into my body. At this time, I'm trying to figure out, why is my chi gone? I'm trying to focus on my body now, get it up and running. I'm doing running frequencies of exhaustion and getting strength. I tried everything. It wasn't really working as well because I was that far gone. Had a beautiful lady, Coletta Haggis. She came and she hooked me up to a frequency machine. I mean, I knew that my body and my connection was in trouble. Okay, I call on the High Spiritual Council. Please come and save me. I need your help. And the Star Confederation showed up. I have spent some time on a Vimana. These are the Indian anti-gravity ships, and they took me to a healing place, and I said, please take me to a healing place. Whatever you need, I'm here. Please help me. So I was calling out, and they showed up. And they showed up, and they started in my waist first. It went crimp. And I said, geez, that's amazing. And you know how crystal is formed with all these angles. They began to put me in kind of a crystalline, they call it is a crystalline kind of suit. They kind of stapled me in, you know, your fingers, stapling it, these angles, you know, and crystalline angles on my face. And I am literally sitting in a crystalline cocoon. But as they crimped, the third chakra, the vibrations and the frequency came in very, very clearly. And I'm going to put this here, 279.83. They told me what they were doing as they were going along. There were other frequencies, but I was too distraught and too out of my mind to collect that information. I'm sure if I go into meditation, I can recall that. So they kind of started working with me, both up my spine, down my spine. They scraped literally my whole spine, and these little amylites came out. And I know that the master guides of Ame were working with the implants. She tells me she sent a text, although I could barely read it because I couldn't even look at anything that was computerized for many, many days. So my phone and everything just had to wait, you know? And so I read as I could. But, you know, she said that there was beings that had put implants that down another timeline that was set to go off at this moment. They really wanted me dead. I know that, and I speak directly to you, the reverse ones, but that is not going to happen because my destiny goes beyond you. And we have the Radiant One and the High Spiritual Council, the Star Confederation, and the Galactic Star Federation, all working because I know my destiny is here to finish the job. So it was quite a journey. And yes, I have the tools to sustain myself even in the place of, was that perhaps the eighth sphere that Steiner was talking about? Let us go on. Okay, so we have the amoebas, the anomamites. These are silicon, kind of metallic, small, and I could see that they were programmed. You will kill yourself. You know, you do not love yourself. You hate everyone, murder, killer, blah. Turn on the switch and they could program you. So this, my friends, throughout all the world, is why you need to stay strong in your own mind. To know your connection to creation and practice with the golden light. You know, if a thought comes through and you ask yourself, is that my thought? And if it's not, wrap it in golden light, and I tell you, it will never come back. Practice, practice. Be awake. There is no going to sleep now because we are in the end game. And we know, without a shadow of a doubt, that the reversed minds that have been leading this world for 16,000 years, however it may be, their time is up. No matter what they do, creating, you know, the Black Moon people or whatever, we know who you are. The Bush family, Hillary family, Clintons. We know the royal family. We know the Rothschilds, the Rockefeller. We know, go all the way back in, yes, you know, Arabia, all these places of greed and want, you know, the cabals that are coming out of Kazakhstan. These are led by beings and minds, even if they're human, they really are under the control, at least some of them were, of this entity who was controlling the amoebas, who was controlling the minds of humanity. They would have succeeded, but they messed with me, and I called in the high command, the high spiritual council. Now, It took me weeks to be able to raise my head, stand up with my body, move, get back in. I'm still coming in. And, had to do the emergency run to have my lungs x-rayed so I could see where I was, what had happened. Smoke damage, yes. Right lung had some pneumonia. But I was going to live. So I had cupping and acupressure, from a beautiful sister who did the work. And because I don't know her permission, I will not state her name. But the goodness is, beautiful Leah Garber said, go get your lungs x-rayed, go get acupressure. Boom, yes. I needed to be told. And soon the meridians were opening. And even though I was exhausted, sleeping 24/7, sleeping round the clock, rest was my deepest key. It was my friend. And the most delightful experience to awaken and have the avatar Babaji at the foot of my bed. He was healing me. He was doing some sacred work on my body, and I woke up and he was so elated that I saw him there. I've had contact with this avatar Babaji in the high mountains of Middletown. And I believe because I experienced this God particle when I had been overdosed on 5-MeO-DMT in my journey, that I was covered. They placed the energy of this golden light around me. It is like the God particle. You can sustain yourself. But I did it instinctively. I wasn't thinking, let me put this golden light around me. It just happened when I was in the dark place of eternal nothing, I don't know. I have to do some research about where that was. But there was Babaji. And that's how he became immortal. The stories of him and the lineage in Tumal and the places where these beautiful beings created these huge temples with extraordinary sculptures. They're known in that area for the sculpture of beauty and grace. And Sri Aurobindo he was the last of that lineage to have the golden light placed around him. And he chose not to become immortal, but let his body go. And there was Babaji, and I think that's why the connection, I get it. Because I was sustained by the golden light. And as he was working on me, and I just could lay back and just be present with his eyes. He doesn't speak when he comes. He just, in a open voice speaking conversation, but we connect on a deep soul level, and the transmission of the talking is through almost a telepathic, vibration of love. And so he began to channel. Vishnu and the god Vishnu. I could see him completely, that the energy of Vishnu was coming in. And Vishnu is the sustainer in the lineage of the Hindu gods. And one of my favorites, I love Vishnu. Story of Sita Ram and all of this. But they reached out and touched my third eye and gave me a bindi. As this godlike energy touched my third eye, I went completely into all the lifetimes I had had in India. And I understood why I never really needed to go there, because I was complete. I saw myself as a priest, as a priestess of the lineage of, bringing love and light onto the planet for thousands and thousands and thousands of years of human life. I was a human form, and I did a lot of work, and also in my Syrian form, because a lot of, Syrian, off-planet beings went to India, and they were a part of the great awakening there, and the hidden books, and they became a part. They had colonies and such from Kemet. And when you see the really dark skinned people from India, they might have Egyptian blood. It'd be fun to do their genetics and see what happened. But I was so grateful that so many beings, and I thank you all for tuning in to me, Michaela, and everyone who was with me, and my friends. Thank you so much. You enabled me to stay alive, and I will never forget that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Marlena, and all the people who love me, Karen. And I wish to eternally thank my family, Lysandra Hunt, Yosef Masinovich, and Debbie Sineski, my grandson, Jahan Woodfork, and all of my star family who is holding me, my spirit and my soul, sending me love, coming over, feeding me food, all those who came to bring me nourishment and keep my body alive. Thank you. Slowly, the deep breaths started coming back. And here I am, speaking to you tonight. You know, it's 9:51 in the evening here in Marin, California. And I'm thankful to be here. It's been a journey. And to give you confirmation that what I say is true, for those of you who are following the United Network TV or news, unitednetwork.news, with Kim Gogan, I was sent by the original woman who told me, look, I'm going out of town because they're going to be practicing with the microwave particle beams. This woman said it. Had I not told her about the amoeba, she wouldn't believe it. But there on Kim Gogan's channel, she starts speaking about it. I'm going to put the link down there for you all to listen carefully. It's important that you get it. I was not making this up. This really happened, and I saw them, and I knew what they were, and I asked for the help. Now, I'm grateful that Kim told it truthfully, that there was another group that came in. Yes, that was the High Spiritual Council. Now they're working together with her grouping, which is the Anunnaki. She is working with a high grouping who is trying to bring balance in the natural law back to Earth. So I'm going to put this link with her and Tank and her Global Healing Alliance. And I'm praying the reality, but the most important thing is for you to hear that she speaks about these amoebas as parasites that are in everything, in our computers, all over the place. But they won't live for long. And know that the vibration that destroys their ability to program is the vibration of love. So I'm going to put the link to the 10 sacred tones. And in the 10 sacred tones, frequency tones, is 528 hertz, which is the frequency of love. And you can listen to this, and it will help your body and help you to deprogram anything that's going on. The most important thing is that I am alive. Claudette is alive. She and I both suffered. She went through it like I did, but she had strength, a little bit younger than this gal here, than I am. I've done 67 times around the sun, 68 coming up in December. So there was strength there for me, and had I not kept my body up, my mind, my spirit, and had the wherewithal to call in that golden light, I would not have escaped that dark place. I think I was shining enough, and the guides like Chiron and all these Metatron found me and was able to bring me out. I don't know, but I know these guides were very important in saving my life, as was all the healers and the people who called me up and said, how are you doing, and was there for me. I love you. Thank you for stepping up. I just don't even have words. So I have been reborn, holding the light through the darkest night, yeah? And I know my purpose is solid, There were many from the conference, the Mount Shasta Summer Summit, that were harmed as well. Beautiful lady from Peru, and many people, including Raymond Kelly, who told a story about the Venusians, and I understand he had been picked up and thrown 15 feet by some poltergeist type thing. So again, we are in the end game. Stand strong. Know that you can call upon the High Spiritual Council. They're listening. They know we're here. They're willing to step in if we ask for their help. I am now, to those of you of reverse consciousness, as I have always been, under the protection of the High Spiritual Council. I am a part of the council. So I am within my own self carrying the God particle, or the source. I have been in the source, and the source gives me the answer, and it came, and I did what I needed to do, and I'm here, and I survived. It was an excellent try. You took me very close. But it wasn't death, you see, because there was a consciousness, and that is key to understanding this severing of the soul and the spirit. And I pray for those who have had that happen, who are no longer on this earth plane, and I'm asking the High Spiritual Council to begin a rescue mission to help those who need to get out of that place of separation. So again, it's coming back to, in the healing process, as we all do with our bodies, to come out of the pneumonia, to be able to speak. And this is the first day that I've been able to sit in front of the computer. So I decided that I will tell my story and place it for the world to know. You must know that this is happening. And for all the forward thinkers and all the ones who are open, and those who know, who are taking us not over the cliff in that vibrational field of timeline, but taking us up into the heavenly realms of higher education, illumination, and elevation of consciousness, I praise thee. And should you be attacked, know that you will work yourself through it. You will come through it with flying colors, and make sure that those who are around you know how to help you, and they will come. We are all together in this as the earth is evolving into its galactic hood. The light is upon you. My love is with you. Glory in the light of the Radiant One. Glory in the light of the Radiant One. Glory in the light of the Radiant One. Karashkana atera kumara rutushinakra. Tepeshuna marakra tatishinataka. Perdamo raragishina da Shirna mukura. Shirna shukuna. And thank you to the Syrian High Council. Thank you to this Star Confederation and the Galactic Star Federation. High Spiritual Council. Pishuna ma is gonna te. Grasna borobas gonna te.